guys, we are driving all the way from California to Boulder, Colorado in the brand new and refreshed Ridgeline, and we're doing an MPG test. We have just left the gas station where we use the 2-click method to find out, well, hopefully when we fill it up, what kind of fuel economy we're getting. Now, according to this, since we left California, I can show you, we have been averaging 13.9 miles and 374 so far traveled. But when we get to the pump, we will, Tommy, of course, use the 2-click method to find out what the pump says. Now, I gotta tell you, Tommy, I like this truck as a tow rig. I mean, show them what we're towing.
Well, nothing too crazy. So that back there is the new 2021 Honda Talon, which is a 2-seater side-by-side. We figure the trailer and the little Talon weigh somewhere around 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny truck because you get a lot of payload, but you don't get a lot of towing capability. What I mean by that, of course, is you get almost 1,600 pounds of payload, which is, just in case you're wondering how that translates, it's more than a Raptor or a TRX, the two that we own. But you can only tow about 5,000 pounds, so it's kind of a mixed bag. Now, Tommy, here's the question for all of you out there. Is this a car or is this a truck? And the reason I say that is because, well, it's got a little bit of both in it, doesn't it?
It's based on the Honda Pilot, right, which is an SUV, but it does incorporate a bed back there, so you've got a pretty usable bed. And this one has 1,543 pounds of payload, as you mentioned, Dad, which is not only better than the Raptor and the TRX, it's better than most of the other mid-sized trucks in its class. So it can haul a lot of stuff. I'm going with as a truck. If it's got a bed, I'm calling it a truck, especially with standard all-wheel drive and a pretty big V6.
Yeah, but the people out there, I could already hear them yelling, Tommy. First of all, independent suspension all the way around. Secondly, no low-speed transfer case, right? So people are saying, you know, trucks have to have that, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure, dude. I mean, a lot of two-wheel drive trucks don't have, actually all of them don't have a low-speed transfer case. They just have, you know, two-wheel drive.
Yeah, and if you look at stuff like the new Silverados, even if you get 4-wheel drive, most of those don't have a low range either. You have to spec the Z71 package in most cases to get that. So I don't think the low range is a huge issue. So this is a truck for like the 95% of time you're using a truck on the road, hauling some stuff, but not too much stuff, cruising down the highway. This is a very much a thinking man's truck. It's for someone who wants a very comfortable ride in a fuel-efficient package at a good value and knows that you're really only going to be towing, you know, 1 or 2% of the time if you live in the city or if you have a small boat.
First of all, I'm going to say it's the thinking woman's truck, Tommy, because I think as many men as women buy this truck, so I think that's important to make that distinction. The other cool thing about this truck is it's actually very, at least in this sport level trim, relatively affordable. It's $36,000. Now, we do have a package on top of it, don't we?
The HPD package, Honda Performance Development. So it's got these really cool bronze wheels on it. It's got a different grille, some cool stickers. It's supposed to be the lifestyle looking package, which is supposed to kind of make it more exciting to look at. But it's still very affordable. So $36K, like you mentioned, Ned, this is a sport trim. For $36K, you've got adaptive cruise control, dual zone automatic climate control.
All the safety tech, right? All of the Honda safety tech, basically.
Yeah, Honda Safety Sense, yeah. And then you also get, what's it called? I'm blanking. Oh, you get the trunk.
Oh, you get the trunk that's under the bed, which is pretty cool. Now, people have said there's a lot of hard and scratchy plastics, but this is actually soft, so it's not really scratchy. I've become known on YouTube, apparently, for doing scratchy things like this. Let me show you. So that's a little hard, but these are really all soft touch, and it's a very comfortable, you know, place to spend a lot of time, which we're doing. Like I said, Honda is always about kind of thoughtful and clever engineering, and this thing is full of it, right? From the seats in the back that fold all the way up to allow you to do like a bicycle, to the trunk, to the tailgate that swings open and, you know, also opens a traditional way. There's just a lot of cool stuff in here, and I'm a big fan of, you know, everything you need and nothing you don't. And this is classic everything you need and nothing you don't.
That's right, yeah, and you know, it's based on the Honda Pilot more or less. And the great thing about that is that's a family hauler, which means it's got to be comfortable. And this has got probably the best highway ride of any truck I've ever been in. Great big windows, easy to see out of. Both seats have these individual armrests as well. They're really soft seats, even in the base trim. So with the HPD package, 36 plus 2800 for that package, so right around 39, 40K. Just a huge amount of value. 290 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6, standard torque vectoring all-wheel drive, which is great for the snow.
And look, Tommy, a volume knob. What a cool thing. It still has the push button, which I'm not, in love with transmission, but I do like the fact that they replaced the volume knob. And the other cool thing about Hondas is, I didn't spend more than like 4 seconds figuring out how any of this stuff works. That includes all the buttons on the steering wheel. So it's very intuitive, very easy to use. And in a world where everything's going digital and haptic, it's nice to have analog and, real.
For sure, I agree completely. Well, we are cruising up from just outside of Las Vegas to Moab, Utah, heading through St. George. I think we're going to hit some mountains here, and we're going about 70, 75, keeping up with the speed of traffic, but making sure we are towing nice and safely. There is no integrated brake controller in this truck, which is kind of a shame, but the load is small enough where I think we'll make it without difficulty.
Yep, and Tommy, maybe in this video we can also do, after we figure out what fuel economy we're getting, and the truck says, and the pump says, maybe we can actually do an Ike run, just a little baby Ike run running from the bottom, because we are going all the way home. So when we get to the bottom of the Silverthorne Eisenhower Tunnel entrance, let's just Ike it as well. Why not?
All right, we'll catch up. We'll catch up with you soon. All right, here we are. I think we're in Fort Hamilton, Utah. Elevation something like 5,500 feet. We came up from Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas, and I think we were at about 2,000 feet. So we've risen a good 3,500 feet or so in elevation. It's been a pretty good climb. We haven't gone that far. Let's see how far we've gone.
Well, you gotta close the door.
Well, just maybe we can clear out that message, huh?
Well, then I can close the door and open the window.
All right, so how far did we go?
We went 159 miles, and we averaged, according to the truck, 11.8 mpg. Now, let's see from the start. From the start, we've gone 523, and we're averaging 13.2.
So, go back to the first trip, do you mind?
Yes.
159 miles, we're down to, what, just over a quarter tank?
Yep.
Must be a pretty small tank.
I think it's a pretty small tank, yeah.
All right, let's fill it up.
All right.
Now, this truck with the added fender flares here and the slightly wider stands with the HPD wheels is supposed to get slightly less fuel economy. I think one worse in, according to the EPA. So, curious to see what our real world fuel economy will be. I think it's a capless fuel filler. It sure is. Look at that. I do like that. It's always nice to have. And the nice thing is we didn't hit any bad weather on this trip so far, so it's nice and clean, the truck. I do apologize for the wind.
Anytime we're filming, the most loud vehicle always comes by, Tommy.
Yep, that's the rule.
That's the rule.
Okay, so we just had the very first click. Now we gotta wait 30 seconds and do the second click, and we will know the total gallons used on our trip. You can see we're in the 14-gallon range, so it is a pretty small tank, probably too small for towing. The maximum distance we've been able to get towing on this trip has been about 200 miles, and we were pulling in not far off empty.
Yeah, it's really good though if you like eating a lot, because we do stop a lot and then I eat a lot of crap.
Yeah, it's not great for your diet. Okay, here we go. That was 30 seconds. One more click. Right. Ooh, that was a big click. All right, let's get the final numbers. 14.074 gallons. Here we go. This is the final math. 159 miles divided by 14.07. Ooh, 11.3 miles per gallon.
Which I think is the same that the truck said, if I remember right.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. As soon as we get through all these beeps and road departure mitigation off. Yes, I know. Come on. There we go. 11.8, so it's off by a half a mile, which is not bad,
Yeah, so pretty spot on. So what do you think of that fuel economy?
I think that's actually pretty darn good when you think about it. I mean, usually when we're towing, we're getting like 4 or 5 miles a gallon going up the Ike, and in general, it's in the single digits. So yeah, it's okay for the fact that we're towing a pretty light load. Let's face it, about 3,000 pounds is not a lot of weight for most trucks.
Yeah, pretty small, but super comfortable ride. We've been doing 75, 70 miles an hour depending on the speed limit, and the Talon's been nice and secure back there. V6 has had plenty of power, not struggling at all. 11.3, there you go.
Yeah, and now it's time to do the Ike, Tommy. So when we get there, we'll run an Ike and see what kind of fuel economy we're doing there, because we can actually do, we can do real-time fuel economy. That's as best we're going to do.
All right, let's do it.
Can you see we're back in Colorado? What's your hint, Tommy? Is it all the snow behind the truck? Yep, we're back in Colorado, and I gotta tell you, I'm not excited. I get excited for snow like in Thanksgiving, but now I'm getting a little tired of it. But anyway, we made it here to Silverthorne, which means the Ike Gauntlet is right there. So let's do a couple things. Let's run it up the Ike at the speed limit. So keep in mind that the perfect time is 8 minutes. So we'll see if we can make 8 minutes. We will also determine what kind of fuel economy the truck is getting using the truck. There's no really way to do it using the pump because there's no pump at the top of the Ike. And we'll see how the engine sounds. We'll see if we can get some VTEC, yo. Or is it yo VTEC? All right, now I'm resetting, Tommy. Resetting. We are reset. We are starting. I'll tell you when. Not yet, not yet. Started now.
Are you full throttle?
I am full throttle, my man.
All right, this is pretty cool. So listen to VTEC.
Oh, it just went. Did you hear it?
Yeah, so there's a very noticeable change from when the variable valve timing kicks in. Right at about 5,000 RPM, it goes from pretty quiet to super loud.
All right, I am now at the speed limit. Keep in mind, we are driving from about 10,000 to about 12,000 feet above sea level. The world's toughest towing test because, well, we're going up a 7% grade, which is as high as you can go on an American highway, and we are doing it at 2 miles above sea level, Tommy, which is crazy. Now I'm doing this myself. I'm going to keep it at 65 miles an hour. And luckily, it looks like we've got a clear run so far. Not a lot of traffic today. A lot of snow, but no traffic. Now, we have now driven this Ridgeline 1,050 miles, pulling our trailer. So I think we have a good sense of what it tows like. What's your idea of what it tows like, Tommy?
It tows very well. For small loads like this, it's super, super confident. The independent rear suspension doesn't seem to affect the handling at all. I'm really impressed. So this has got the 3.5 liter V6 with iVTEC variable valve timing. I think it develops 280 horsepower. Plenty of power. Certainly haven't been hunting for gears at all along this trip with the 9-speed automatic. I think it's actually in some ways underrated on its tow capability because certainly at 3,000 it's fine. I imagine at 5,000 it would be fine as well.
Yeah, my only complaint with the towing is that when you use cruise control, and we were going in Utah where the speed limit is 80 miles an hour, and we weren't towing that fast, but nevertheless, the cruise control was struggling a little bit to keep it at the designated speed limit.
Which was weird because if you just push the throttle yourself, it's super easy to keep it at the speed, but like the cruise control is super tame on how much throttle or how much acceleration it allows the truck to have. So sometimes it would slow down. If you set it at like 70, it would slow down to 65 or 63, and then you'd manually have to push on the throttle to bring it back up to 70. It's pretty funny.
So this engine is revving at about 5,000 RPM, and when we did this with other mid-sized trucks, and I'm specifically thinking about the Gladiator, Tommy, that engine was revving like crazy as well.
That's right, yeah. And this one develops 262 pound-feet of torque, so roughly the same numbers as the Gladiator, a little bit down, but it's not quite as, I don't want to say noticeable, but not quite as obnoxious as the Gladiator. It seems to be more tame.
Yeah, it seems to be happier revving at 5,000 RPM, but it's it's pushing this truck. I don't have a sense that I'm over capacity on this vehicle whatsoever. Keep in mind, 3,000 in the truck world is pretty low, right? I mean, in an SUV crossover world, that'd be like a medium weight. In a truck world where heavy-duty trucks could tow, 25, 30,000, it's pretty minuscule.
It's nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about the VTEC is it really is a noticeable change when it engages, but it doesn't engage until we found about 5,200 RPM, and then Redline is just over 6,500. So you only have 1,000 RPM of VTEC, yo. But it is a cool thing when it engages. So right now we're cruising at
I'm I'm going a little bit above
Yeah,
speed limit. 67.
slow down there.
Yeah.
Got a little ambitious.
I got a little ambitious. I got a little excited. I'm trying to keep it at 65.
So we're cruising at just under 5,000 RPM, but it's actually not engaged the VTEC yet.
And there's your fuel economy. Now keep in mind, we're timing this run as well, and 8 minutes is a perfect run. Unless we run into traffic, I don't foresee any issues with getting a perfect run in terms of time. You know, Tommy, look, here's the thing about the Ridgeline, right? I think a lot of people don't even put it on their shopping list because they think it's not a truck. That's pretty much, I think, where it's at. And it's a shame because I think, like I said, this does everything that 95% of the people do 95% of the time. And yeah, I'm going to say, you know, towing-wise, it's a little limited, and off-road-wise, without a low-speed transfer case or a low gear, it's a little limited. But for everything else, it excels. It's exceptional.
I think certainly it's the most comfortable truck in class in terms of on-road comfort. I think it's probably got one of the best interiors in class. I think it's the best value in class. 36K would get you like a base model sport Gladiator without power locks or power windows. I mean, just no trucks in this class are in that range that are well equipped. 36K, we've got dual zone automatic climate. We've talked about it. It's really, really good value for what you get. And yeah, and if you don't need a lot of towing capability, if you don't need that off-road capability, because everyone wants the off-road capability of a Ranger or a Tacoma, but nobody, I should say nobody, very few people that we see out on the trail.
Very few new truck buyers.
Yeah, very few new trucks are actually hitting the trail. So I think in a lot of ways, the iVTM4 torque vectoring all-wheel drive in this is better than your traditional transfer case system because it's always active and it's got extremely good power distribution to the wheels that need traction.
All right, I'm now at 61. The mountain is beginning to bite, Tommy.
Are you floored?
I am floored.
Is that floored?
That's floored. It is floored. Yeah, you can tell it's starting to bite. Is it going to go? Yep, I got up to speed limit, but slowly. 66. It's still floored. My foot's to the floor. 67. Yeah, you can tell the altitude and the grade is starting to actually catch up to this. And you know, if you really wanted to test it, you could probably do a super Ike where we max it out.
Yeah, max it out.
But this is kind of an impromptu Ike because we're doing this long road trip. The one thing I do miss, Tommy, and it's funny because Honda gives you their suite of safety things like autonomous braking, lane departure, right lane, keep assist, but there's no blind spot monitoring.
It's called Honda Sensing, which is standard. And as you mentioned, it's adaptive cruise control as well. It's lane centering, it's road departure warning, it's automatic emergency collision, but blind spot monitoring would be over there, and that is still an option. That should be standard in the Honda Sensing suite, in my opinion.
All right, how are we doing time-wise? We're about to hit the lights. I think I was a little ambitious at times. I did exceed the speed limit by a few miles an hour.
A few miles an hour?
Yeah.
We were hauling butt, Dad.
I was doing like 68. Come on. It happens. It happens.
All right, well, we're about to
Now I'm
cross.
doing 61, so it all evens out.
Are you floored?
No, I'm not floored, but now I'm floored.
There you go.
Yeah, floored. 60.
4,000 RPM.
Yeah. I'm floored and it's doing 60 and not climbing. So we've hit where normal combustion engines start to suffer. I'm floored and it's doing 60.
We're almost to the top here.
Yep. Well, we're almost to the top as well. So I'll tell you. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Right there, the lights.
7 minutes and 11 seconds.
I may have gone a little quicker than
I think you were a little ambitious in the sporty Ridgeline.
I think I may have been a little ambitious. So the Ridgeline did
What was the fuel economy?
6.3.
6.3. Okay.
Yeah, which is, you know, Ike Gauntlet numbers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's Ike Gauntlet numbers. You can compare that to some of the other trucks we've done. Look them up, but that's usually what we're getting.
Well, Speedy McSpeedy face over here really hauled up the Ike like stinks. So maybe not exactly apples to apples, but it was a good test.
Yeah, and you know, we've been driving now for 1,000 miles, and I'm like the horse that smells the hay in the barn. I just want to get back home at this point. You know, I think my overall conclusion on this Ridgeline is that it's probably the most unappreciated mid-size truck in the segment. And there are only like 5 of them, right? So there's not a lot of them. But we put up that video on TFL Now, and somebody said that they didn't even realize that Honda had built the truck. So hopefully, you know, you guys don't just discount this because it doesn't have big tires and, you know, big tow numbers. It's a good truck, Tommy, especially on a long road trip like this. It's a very good truck.
Yep, I agree. It's been super, super comfortable, and I just can't get over the value.
As always, this is Roman.
And Tommy, check out TFLtruck.com for the latest and greatest in these impromptu towing reviews.
Show them the final number there.
12.6 over 1,000 miles.
Yep, exactly right.
Not bad.
Not bad. See you guys next time. Ciao.